Yeah, so there are some rules out there. Sellers have asked me, hey, what if we execute a trade and then Amazon pulls my item off the shelf
I
or
thought about that too, yeah.
sell it anymore? Well, if you're in an active trade, okay, and Amazon pulls the item off your shelf or something happens because you sold something counterfeit or, not that you knew or you didn't know, but if anything happens where the item just can't be sold anymore,
Hmm.
okay, that's not a risk the investor takes. If you have an active trade, let's say you took $1,000 on those Crocs, and then tomorrow Crocs or Amazon says you can't sell it anymore. Whatever is remaining for that investment that was made, okay, so if I made $1,000 investment into 100 pieces of Crocs for $10 each, so far you paid me back $200, and there's $800 still remaining, and all of a sudden you're not selling the Crocs anymore. You now owe that investor $800 within the next 30 days. So there are some rules there protecting our investors. Okay,
Hmm.
remember, you are legally trading. Okay, we have, you know, we're it's not a security. Okay, but it is basically a security in the terms of it is a legal contract. Okay, you would be committing fraud if you took the money and ran away. Just like if you did that on stocks,
Hmm.
that's fraud. And you in this country at least, and depending on right now, we're starting with US based FBA sellers, but we're expanding globally eventually over the next few months. I would say Q2 of 2026 will expand to other countries. Okay. But you're legally agreeing that you're not going to do anything unethical in this. And we have to protect the investor. Okay. Now, there are certain market risks that you can't control. Like I said, prices coming down, sales slowing down. So, like I said, you as the seller can't drop the price below 1% margin of the 2 week high or low that happened during the trade. You as a seller can't take the money and automatically stop the PPC spend.
Yeah.
You can't look at more than 1% margin. Okay. So there are some things that you can still do, but you have to protect the investor. Remind you, you want to become the power seller on this exchange so that when you and I, Vova, go onto the exchange as traders and we see a power seller, a gold seller versus a silver seller, we're looking at the gold seller and we're like, I'm willing to put up 50,000 against this guy, against this particular Tide detergent for this seller. I'm willing to put up 10,000 against him. Why? Because this guy has shown, or this gal has shown continued success for his investors,
Interesting.
right? And that's why Vova, who's a gold seller on the exchange, is sitting on millions of dollars in cash flow coming in, right? Because people love to invest in him. He has done right by his investors. And so that's one of the questions I get asked, if it gets pulled off the shelf, which is a very important question. Another question I've been asked is returns. Okay. Let's say that, Shawn, the investor, comes in and buys 100 pieces of these, invests in 100 pieces of this Crocs. Okay. And during that time where I'm getting paid back my 100, there's 4 returns.
Interesting.
But I haven't been, now there's two-part question here. Let's say I haven't been paid the cash on that yet, right? On the 20 that have sold.
Hmm.
4 return happened of those 20. Well, then I, as the investor, would take the hit on the return. It would go back into what I'm owed, and I now have to wait for 4 more, right? It get added back to what I'm owed because the investor has to take the hit on those returns. But let's say that I've already been paid back on those 20 and 4 returns occurred. The seller would take the hit on that. And now they'd have to pay back. You get what I'm saying? So the returns would only get hit on the investor is if the investor got paid for that particular return. But if the
Yes.
investor get paid for that return, then the seller takes the
Seller.
hit because it's likely the seller got the item back.
Hmm. Hmm.
They can sell it. They can resell it.
Hmm.
So both are taking the risk. We're not hurting the seller here. So if the seller, hey, seller A, you paid Shawn already, and then the return hit, well, you got the item back. You can resell it. But
Hmm.
hey, seller, You're about to pay Shawn for this sale, but the return came back. Well, then you don't have to pay the seller. You don't have to pay the investor. The investor will take that. It'll go back in. The investor now has to wait for another sale. Okay, so we're protecting both ends. Those are a couple of questions that I've received. And obviously the biggest question is always cash flow. Oh, well, I have the money. I have the money. I've looked at some of the sales history and the revenue streams that are coming in for these sellers who say they have the cash. Personally, the way I run business, being an ex-commodities trader, being well embedded into multiple businesses, watching cash flow, watching financial analyses that happen within the businesses, I can tell you that cash flow is king every single time. Okay. Giving up a little bit of profit to get 3x the cash.
Yeah.
You do that in 1 or 2 months, and then you tell me exactly how much your life has changed in that business. I guarantee you'll see a difference.
Nice, man. And Shawn, for traders that come, like you said, it's for US FBA sellers right now, but expanding Q2 2026, more and more growing, more marketplaces, nice. But for investors, say there's an investor from Poland, say, he's like, all right, interesting. Like, I'm curious, would they need some sort of business presence in the States, or they just sign up and that's it? You know what I mean? Like, because
right now,
yeah.
it's US based Amazon FBA sellers and US based investors. And that will be up until sometime in Q1 or 2 of next year. Okay. The reason being is, we have to control certain aspects of the legalities that we have in place. Securities regulations that we have to follow here, currency swaps. It's not as easy as somebody just coming in and buying, 10 pieces of your clocks. But that is going to expand over the next, 1 or 2 quarters. That is the ultimate goal, and we're there. We have the functionality for it. I just haven't unlocked that. The main constraints are bank accounts. We use certain third-party vendors for KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering, that only support US customers at the moment. Switching over from them to a vendor that allows international clients, one that everyone's familiar with. It might be PayPal, it might be Stripe, it might be one of those that allow international. Once I switch over to them, that will eliminate the hurdle that I have with bringing on international investors. So the system has the ability for it, but our third-party vendors don't. And so I'm getting to that next. And as we expand, as we add these users right now, we'll work through the current model that we have with US based, and then we'll move into, again, the international. So Vova, you mentioned to the user, the viewers, that there are going to be some benefit for them signing up right now. I'll provide that benefit to you, so that you can put that in, on the bottom of the screen. That will change over time. The funny thing is, there's an Amazon delivery right there, right behind me.
Yeah. E-commerce is well live, man. So yeah.
So, with that being said, I'm going to provide a very, very lucrative benefit to all the traders that come on, all the sellers that come on, in terms of free trades. Okay, how long and how many? That is what we'll discuss, and you'll put that into the bottom of the screen. But again, we're looking to get the users on board to really kind of help these users understand how this benefits them on both ends. And then, you'll be seeing a lot of us. Like I said, we're going to be spending a lot of money next year to increase our presence around the globe.
Nice.
You'll be seeing us at the conferences. You'll be seeing us, online. We'll be doing a lot of campaigns, a lot of marketing, obviously through you as well, Vova. But I can tell you we're here to stay, and this is going to be the #1 priority for sellers starting next year. I can guarantee that once they see the benefit, they're not going to hop off of this.
Nice, man. Yeah, appreciate you being here with us today and sharing and kind of going in depth. Again, if our viewers or listeners have any more questions, maybe I try to like, ask, but I'm sure I've missed something, and that's fine, But we are happy to get more comments. And Shawn, if something comes to your mind right now, it's cool. You can share too. But yeah, man, I'm nice to see also how you kind of approach things. Yeah, and you've been in business for a long time, man. And you're, before the call, so we spoke. You're doing multiple things, man. You're killing it, and I'm glad for you, man. Just keep going, keep growing. I hope that this platform gets big, and I see, yeah, really the benefit because it can help an everyday person, as you mentioned, who wants just to try out. Maybe they have $1,000, $500, or maybe a bit more, or maybe even sellers who understand numbers of sales. So then they might create an extra stream of
You
income
know
for
what?
themselves. You know what I mean?
Brought up something. Actually, that's before we go, I got to
Yeah,
mention one thing.
please.
With the tests that we have done, okay, with the trades that we've been doing, we've had live users on the exchange. I learned something actually very, very important. Um, I learned that my most lucrative investors are actually my sellers. So the sellers came onto the platform. I had hosted a webinar one day. All right, I'll give you a little story.
Yeah.
I hosted a webinar and I had about 22 sellers on the webinar. Okay. Some of these sellers, they had known each other from conferences that they met each other at. So I give the demo to of the platform to the sellers, and then I go into the Q&A. Instead of asking me questions, the sellers started talking to each other on the Q&A.
Mm.
The sellers asking each other, "Hey, I would love to invest in you. I don't have access to those goods."
Mm.
I remember I had one seller who was selling toys, specifically licensed toys with, Disney characters and stuff like that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that they were authorized to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And the other seller was selling electronics. And the other seller on the electronics said, "I always knew toys did well, but I didn't have access to them. I would love, X seller selling electronics said, "Hey, Y seller, I would love to invest into your goods."
Yeah.
And right away he said, "You're an authorized dealer of X brand." He was selling
Ooh.
cameras. "I would love to get involved in that, but I don't have the liquidity for it. And I don't have the access to source those goods because I'm not an authorized seller. I would love to do that." Next thing you know, they asked if they could share their email addresses on the chat of the webinar. They did. And they started contacting each other. They then contacted me and said, "Hey, Shawn, when is the platform live on the investor end? Because we would like to invest in each other."
Yeah.
And I said, "Because you're sellers, you can go ahead and do that immediately. I would love that." At the moment, I haven't started onboarding investors. I've only been onboarding sellers. We have a team of friends and family that we've onboarded to become investors on the platform. I'm going to by December or January, I'm going to open up the signups for accredited investors to come onto the platform and start investing publicly. But as of right now, we have sellers investing in sellers. So I learned that. I didn't know. And I guess going to your point, it's because they know the business.
Yeah.
They can read the data quickly. They understand what that data means, and they can make the most educated decision possible.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, we're gonna have in the description the best offer. As you mentioned, for now, we'll be able to give like free trades, means I believe like without the commission of yours. So you're just giving us the platform sort of for free. It's a nice offer. Thank you for the time being. And we'll update the offer as it changes. I believe with time, it's gonna
It'll be
grow. And
very, it'll be very lucrative for your users.
thank you, man.
You know,
I appreciate it. And yeah, man, again, thank you for being here today. And thank you for, the wisdom also. I feel like aside of the, just kind of sharing what you've built, you've also shared with us how business kind of works. So
yeah, I
without,
think
please.
people are accustomed to the old school way of doing business: profit, profit, profit. But that time has changed now.
Mhm.
And you're going to see a lot more competition over the next couple of weeks, couple of months in this season. Especially this season. I think you're going to see a huge change from seasons in the past. Competition is going to be very heavy. And next year, it's only going to get worse because there are a lot of marketplaces expanding to fulfillment. So they're going to compete against the likes of Amazon FBA. So I think it's time for all the sellers to wake up a little bit, build the cash flow, expand their marketplaces, expand the countries that they're selling in, and expand the number of goods that they have in stock.
100%, man. Well, thank you for today, man. And let's be in touch. You're welcome for more videos. If you ever want to come and educate, maybe as you mentioned, like maybe sellers who would like to join and they not sure, or investors who would like to come and see how they can make the most of it, like what percentage should they look at, like exactly what to, which kind of traits to kind of execute. So I'll be glad to
We'll
host you,
help them
man.
understand the data better, and we'll help
Yeah,
them. We're
yeah,
here for them. They can always email our support, and I'll
yeah.
be hosting webinars starting January. I'll be hosting weekly webinars. Um,
Nice.
And so they'll be able to ask their questions. And, we're going to do our best to make sure that both ends of the platform, the traders and the sellers, are seeing the benefit from this.
All right, man. Well, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Keep going. And again, for the viewers, the best offer is in the description. Promo code VOVA. Enjoy it. And all the best to you and your business. Keep growing and keep at it. We're going to make it. Thank you.